I really need some perspective. I don't even know where to begin, but my whole life feels like it's unraveling, and I'm left wondering if I did the right thing. My closest friend, Rachel, is devastated, and my social circle is divided. So, here goes. I, 25F, have been best friends with Rachel, 27F, since high school. We met in freshman year, and honestly, we've been inseparable ever since. We've supported each other through everything: heartbreaks, family drama, bad choices, and new beginnings. Rachel is more like a sister to me than a friend. So when she met Daniel, 30 million, about 2 years ago, I was thrilled. She said he was everything she wanted: charming, successful, funny, and so incredibly attentive. They were a power couple in the making, or so I thought. Rachel and I talk about everything, and I mean everything. So when the wedding planning began, I was all in, from picking out venues to tasting cakes to helping with guest lists. If there was something to be done, I was there. It was supposed to be the happiest time in Rachel's life. She was engaged to Daniel, and everything was perfect. Or so it seemed. About a month before the wedding, I ran into Emma, 28F, someone I used to be close with in high school. We'd lost touch over the years, but we reconnected on Facebook recently. She was friends with Rachel's cousin, and I found out she was invited to the wedding. We decided to meet up for drinks, and we had the kind of conversation that only happens when you haven't seen someone in years. But Emma seemed different. There was something off in her tone, a kind of urgency when she spoke about Rachel's wedding and Daniel. After a few too many drinks, Emma leaned in and said something that made my stomach churn. "You know, I've been seeing Daniel for months." I laughed, thinking she was joking. But the more she talked, the more my blood ran cold. She wasn't joking. Apparently, Emma and Daniel had been having a secret affair for months, behind Rachel's back. The entire time Rachel and Daniel had been together, Emma had been sneaking around with him. I didn't know what to do with the information. It didn't seem possible. Daniel? The guy Rachel always described as perfect? Emma showed me texts that would have made any other person's jaw hit the floor. At first, they were playful, flirtatious. But as they went on, it became clear that Daniel was more than just a little interested in Emma. They were planning meetups, sending explicit photos, and making future plans about getting away together. The worst part? Emma said Daniel had promised her that once the wedding was over, he would take care of things with Rachel. He was planning to break up with her. My mind was spinning. It felt unreal. I didn't want to believe it. There was no way Rachel's perfect relationship was a lie. But Emma showed me more. Screenshots of their texts, pictures of them together. I could tell it wasn't a one-time thing. This had been going on for months. I couldn't shake the feeling that Rachel deserved to know, but how could I tell her? I kept thinking about it. Should I tell Rachel? She was so in love, so sure that Daniel was her soulmate. I couldn't be the one to ruin that. I didn't want to be the one who destroyed her happiness, but I couldn't ignore it either. Emma had the evidence, and deep down, I knew I had to tell Rachel. But the wedding was in a couple of weeks. What if I ruined everything? What if I was wrong? I didn't know what to do, so I kept it to myself. But the guilt ate at me. The big day finally arrived. Rachel was glowing, absolutely radiant in her dress. The venue was beautiful. Everything was perfectly planned, and the guests were all smiles. I, of course, was running around making sure everything went smoothly. I was by Rachel's side, as promised, making sure her day was as magical as she imagined. But then, something shifted. During the ceremony, Daniel was distant, not in a nervous way, but in a way that didn't seem like him. He didn't seem present. He was there, but his mind was elsewhere. His responses to Rachel were short, and his smiles didn't reach his eyes. Something wasn't right. At the reception, while everyone was celebrating, I caught a moment alone with Rachel by the bar. She looked at me, almost nervously. "Have you noticed anything strange about Daniel today?" she asked quietly. I froze. Was she already suspicious? "What do you mean?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "I don't know. He's just off. He's been like this for weeks. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like something is wrong." My heart skipped a beat. This was it. I had the proof. She knew something wasn't right. She just couldn't pinpoint it. I couldn't hold back anymore. My hand was shaking as I pulled out my phone. I opened the photos and texts that Emma had sent me and handed it to Rachel. "I didn't want to tell you this, but I can't keep it from you anymore." Rachel's face changed as soon as she saw the screen. Her eyes darted between the pictures and the texts, then slowly moved up to meet mine. I watched as the color drained from her face, as her fingers trembled over the phone. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. "I knew it," she whispered, her voice breaking. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't want to believe it. Tears filled her eyes, and she didn't even try to wipe them away. I wanted to comfort her, but I knew I couldn't take it back. I couldn't undo the pain I'd just caused. Then, through her tears, Rachel looked at me with a sharpness I hadn't seen before. "I'm so mad at you. Why didn't you tell me sooner? You knew, and you didn't say anything." I tried to explain that I didn't want to ruin her wedding day, but she couldn't hear it. She was too hurt, too broken. The tension from the revelation lingered through the evening. And then, about an hour later, during their first dance, something happened that no one expected. Rachel suddenly stopped dancing. In front of everyone, in the middle of the song, she pulled away from Daniel, looked him straight in the eyes, and said, "I know everything. I know about you and Emma. You've been lying to me this entire time." The room went silent. The air felt thick with shock. Daniel stood there, completely frozen, his mouth opening and closing as if trying to find words. But Rachel didn't give him a chance. She turned on her heel and, without a word, walked out of the reception. Rachel stayed with her family that night. She didn't speak to Daniel. The next morning, I woke up to a text from her. "I need some time to process everything." Daniel had tried calling her, but she wouldn't answer. I didn't know how to comfort her. I just felt like I'd ruined everything. Some of our friends are saying I did the right thing by exposing Daniel's betrayal, but others think I should have kept it to myself and let Rachel figure it out later. They think I ruined her wedding, and maybe I did, but I honestly believe she had the right to know the truth, even if it wasn't the right time.